Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is going on, Man Hour Nation? It's your boy Brandon Combs coming to you. It is Sunday. We have no Buck. We have no Wyatt Williams. It's just me because I'm always alone when I'm with Tori, right? But we'll bring Tori on in just a little bit here. Everybody, thank you guys for chiming in here. If you guys have noticed, you guys got an email in your email. And it was explained to you about how there's a new process for the Man Hour Nation. So just so you guys know, the manhour.com Man Hour Nation has been discontinued. We have decided to go with the YouTube. So everybody should have gotten a reimbursement for their manhour.com. And now, if you are on youtube.com right now, if you go to youtube.com/Man Hour, you should see a little tab there that says join. If you click on that tab, you could start as little as 99 cents a month for merch discounts, $2.99 a month for after hours video, $5.99 a month for free t-shirt after 6 months, $9.99 a month for a free hoodie each year. You guys go and click subscribe. Let us know, and then when you do join, when you are a new member, you will see stuff like this pop up. And that's how we know you've become a member. You will have these little badges next to your name. You see the little, looks like a little S there. I believe we're going to try to change that, come up with some Man Hour, little badges there. But that's how we'll know, you're a member. We'll know what your level is and all that other good stuff. So definitely chime in, get on YouTube, click on join, click subscribe, all that other good stuff, so that we can continue to bring you the best damn sports radio show on the planet. And as always, if you miss any part of the show, find us on Amazon Music, iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And without further ado, as I've butchered this plenty, let's bring on my boy, Tori. Tori Anderson, what's going on, buddy?
Hi. That was my Wyatt intro right there.
What's up?
Hey, guys. What's up? How's it going today? Hey, guys. Brandon, how was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend, my friend?
Man, I had a busy weekend. So I'm starting a new, adventure tomorrow. I start a new job. I accepted a position as a field supervisor for a local, it's a local company that builds custom sunrooms. So these are high-end sunrooms, and we go around to, northern Chicago area mostly, and build custom sunrooms. So I'm going to be the new field supervisor there. So it's just been a busy weekend shopping for new clothes for work and all that other good stuff. And then today we had a cookout. We had some open house for Aubrey's going into high school, man. So she's going to be she's going into 8th grade and then high school, but we're doing all the high school visits because she's trying to decide which high school she wants to go to out here.
Wait, what? Is she getting recruited to high school or what?
Yeah, so in Chicago, it's a lot different than a lot of places. Like, I know I lived up in Vermont, New Hampshire, and out there, whatever town you live in, that's a high school you go to, Out here in Chicago, because there's so many people in so many schools, that you have to live in a certain neighborhood to go to a certain school, or you can go to a private school. So what we're doing is we're, visiting different private schools, Catholic schools, and stuff like that. So we think we found the one for her. Seems like a pretty good place for her to go, and she seems happy with it. So That's all that matters is in the end is that she's happy and she gets to go somewhere where she wants to go and has a good volleyball program because that's really what she's into. And then, so listen, so Aubrey tells me all the time that all I talk about is the radio show and I'm always talking sports and this and that. So we're sitting there and the girl goes, do you know any of these different programs that you might want to try? So this school will actually get with, so if you want to get into marine science, they'll get with the local aquarium and you'll do internships and stuff like that. And she goes, yeah, actually, I'm really interested in the sports media.
Go figure.
I said, what? When did that happen? But no, I'm happy. I'm proud. And I'll be happy to help her along with that as well. But no, man, that was pretty much my weekend summed up. How about yourself, man?
Had a busy weekend. We went to Lowe's and Home Depot. I'm just kidding. I was quoting old school there. give the old copyright.
Yeah.
No, it was a really relaxed, real chill weekend for me. It was nice. I got my laundry done. Like that's like an accomplishment for me. You know, because I live in Wisconsin. Contrary to popular belief, we do not have snow on the ground. It was like 60 degrees here. You know, it's not Antarctica up here.
Yeah.
So
it was
it's
a nice 60
weekend.
today
It's a good
here
weekend.
and 70 tomorrow, or almost 80 tomorrow, I think, for us. And then it's calling for snow on Tuesday and Wednesday. So welcome to Chicago.
Right. So that's same here. It's like supposed to be like 60 some degrees tomorrow, and then 48 with a chance of snow and a wintry mix. I'm like,
yeah,
it's April.
Isn't that depressing though?
April.
That's depressing to me.
Well, what was it? 3 years ago, we got that giant snowstorm, like right around the middle of April. The only reason I remember that is because my dad passed away, and my sister and my niece were here for that. And the day they were supposed to fly out was the day we got like 18 inches of snow dumped on us, like in like 8 hours or whatever.
That was my first taste of New Hampshire when I moved. 'Cause I moved there when I got out of the Marine Corps, and it was May. I'll never forget. It was May 17th when I moved to New Hampshire from North Carolina, and it got 7 inches of snow. And I was like, "Where did I come to? What did I do?" You know?
Superior, Wisconsin, which is on the very, very top of Wisconsin. Has 1 month on record that they have no recorded snowfall, and that's August.
Man, oh man. Yeah, and see, you said I would talk about the Marine Corps. I've got my my softball jersey on from the Wounded Warriors team. Got our little missing in action prisoner of war, and I bring that up, man, because I know we're starting to learn more and more about one another, and I know that you were in the military yourself. One of the things that I always remember is why I joined. So before I get to that, why did you join?
Because they told me to. I'm just kidding. So, because you told me to, drill sergeant.
Yeah.
So I was actually 4th generation military in my family. So my great grandfather was, my grandfather was, my dad was. The only difference was I was the first one to not retire out of the military for my family. So I did 8 years. Got out. I was literally in right between both Gulf Wars. My one thing was I was like, I want to go to war. Got in right after the first Gulf War. I went inactive ready reserve in 2000 and 2001 September 11th, and I tried.
Oh man,
I tried my butt off to get back into boots. After that, because I was like, let's go. And I had cancer. The 2 years prior to that, I had cancer. I had surgery. I was fine. I was like, okay, I'm good to go. But they wouldn't take me back because I had the cancer history. So they were like, nope, you're spending out the rest of your days on IRR, which is inactive ready reserve, which any other time, if you're going to war, you're the first people called back.
Yeah. And so what you actually went to is inactive, not ready reserve, because
pretty much.
They
pretty much told me to sit on the sidelines and stay there till my contract runs out.
Oh man. So how many years you do in the Army?
6.
6 years.
6 and then two inactive. I would do it again, except I would go in the Air Force and learn things that could actually help me in life. And there again, there's you always, hindsight's always 20/20. There's a lot of stuff that I learned after I got out. Like my MOS was 19 kilo. I was an M1A1 armored crewman. I was a tanker, and Superior. Oh, Drew's got jokes. So
Drew chimes in and says Superior, Wisconsin sounds like it's an oxymoron to me.
Actually, a lot of famous Arnold Schwarzenegger graduated college from there.
Yep. Yep.
UW, yeah, from UW Superior. There was somebody else too. I want to say Sylvester Stallone, maybe. Might have been another one that like went there.
Really?
Or he might have been Oshkosh. Yeah, there's a couple of celebrities that graduated.
You know the celebrity that went to my high school? The Unabomber.
Oh. Yeah. Still mine.
That's the most famous person that went to my high school.
Ours was Jeff Messenger, who was a safety for the Wisconsin Badgers and ended up breaking the Big Ten record for interceptions. He owned the record for a couple of years. I think Jamar Fletcher ended up breaking it. Current Badger defensive coordinator right now, Jim Leonard, I believe, still has the record. So
I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps, and I tell you right now, man, there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss it. I mean, I got out because my daughter was born at the time. September 11th had just happened, and we were getting ready to go over, and I had to make a decision: do I re-enlist or do I want to be, around to see my daughter? Because you never know whether or not you're coming back. And as a matter of fact, I probably lost 12 friends and 12 guys from my platoon in a matter of 2 years. So, I didn't know whether or not I would be coming back, and I made the decision that I wanted to be there for my daughter. So I ended up not re-enlisting. It's not, I don't want to say that I regret that decision, because I don't. I've been able to be around for my kids and watch them grow up and all that stuff. But at the same time, I kind of wish that I had made some sort of commitment to both. You know what I mean? But the reason why I joined is always the story I love to tell, is because so I went to a graduation party, and in my graduation party, I got hammered. And
come on.
Oh yeah.
None of us ever did anything like that.
And Anthony Rizzo just hits another bomb. That's 2 for him today. But no, I got annihilated, and the next morning it's like 11 o'clock. I have to work at 1 o'clock, and I get a phone call, and it's the Marine Corps recruiter, and he's like, "Hey, you just graduated high school. They just start calling you out of the blue because you just graduated. Yep. You're 18. They want to get you in." And I was like, oh, God. I was like, well, I got to work at 1. And he's like, you think I could just, get a moment of your time after you get out of your shift and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, if I do, will you stop calling me? He's like, oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm like, all right, great. So I tell my mom, I said, "Ma, going to work. And then when I get home from work, I'm going to, kind of go talk to this guy and blow him off. And then I'll be home for dinner." So I go there, and they're showing me like the video for boot camp, and the oorah video of things blowing up, and the brotherhood and carrying your partner over the line and all this stuff, and I'm like, whoa. And I'll never forget watching that video. And then he showed me the Crucible video, which, for those of you who don't know, the Crucible is the last week of boot camp. And it's basically like an FX. It's a simulated war, and you're just going through crazy, rigorous activities. You're on sleep deprivations, 2-3 hours of sleep a night, and they wake
United
you up
States Armed Force regulations. 3 hours of sleep, and you are fully charged to go, according to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're showing me these videos, and I'm like, hell yeah. So I brought the recruiter back home with me for dinner with a signed contract so that he could tell my parents that I enlisted. And the rest was history. My mom was a little bit less than excited. My dad was, he was kind of neutral. I think he didn't want to show that he was excited because my mom was less than excited. But you could always tell it was after come home from boot camp and stuff. You could just tell that he was always proud. We'd go out he'd be like, "Oh, let's go to the bar." I'd go to the bar, and he'd introduce me to 20 people. "This is my son. He's a Marine." Well, he was trying to get free drinks, but
it's funny you say you brought the recruiter home for dinner, because I did the same thing, except I called him Dad.
Yeah, see, I come from a long line. My grandfather was a Purple Heart in World War II. 3 of my 4 uncles were enlisted, And then there was me, and I had no designs on going in. My grandfather always talked to me about it, and I knew it was something that he would have wanted. And he died my freshman year of high school, and him and I were really, really close. So that took a toll. And when the opportunity arose, I was like, you know what? Look, I had a sit down I guess you'd call it a sit down with Jesus moment, because I sat down and I was just like, man, look, I'm kind of a shithead right now. So I could either keep going down this path.
Luck edit at 1518.
Yeah. I'm like, I could keep going down this path, and, I could probably have a lot of fun over the next 10 to 12 years, but I'll probably be flipping burgers at White Castle after that. Or I could join the Marine Corps and I can make something of myself. So that's what I ended up doing. That's how the whole thing ended up going in. And I tell you right now, man, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. It's something I'm 100% glad I did.
Yeah.
It's like, not that I had much choice, because the day I turned 17 and a half, my dad said, here, sign this. So I said, okay. Yeah. It was one of those things. It was a foregone conclusion I was going to join. It's just something that the males in our family do. I was one of the first ones, though. So my grandfather was in the Navy in World War II and then switched over to the Army. My dad was in the Air Force and then switched over to the Army. And I only went one branch. I wasn't, I could have completed the circle and gotten the Marines in there and then gone Army, but no, because we don't.
Did they ever tell you what Army stood for?
Ain't
you ready to be a Marine yet?
Oh, God.
All right.
That would be ARTMY.
We do have some sports to get to. We have some sports headlines, and we will get to that as soon as we get back. So stay with us. Give us 2 minutes. And welcome back, Man Hour Nation. It's your boy Brandon Combs along with Tori Anderson. Again, if you are with us on the YouTube channel or if you're on Facebook, as I see Drew over here says, my dad was Air Force during Vietnam but went Coast Guard Reserves. Thank your father very much for his service. We are all brothers united for sure. And if you've missed any part of the show, you can head over to youtube.com and you can check out the entire show after we are done. But also, while you're there, click on the join button, the new membership on the youtube.com/man hour page. 99 cents for merchandise discounts a month, $2.99 a month for after hours video, $5.99 a month for free shirt after 6 months, and $9.99 a month for a free hoodie each year. Go ahead and head to the YouTube page, youtube.com/man hour, and click join today. So, Tori, we've had a lot of good baseball so far, man. I'm telling you right now, I've seen a lot of baseball over the first 2 weeks, and I'm extremely happy with what's gone on. But the Dodgers and the Padres played this weekend, and what a series it was. I mean, they were in the 10th inning on Friday night, tied at 6. They had benches clear, even though not much happened. But Don Orsillo got really, really excited. I don't know if you saw any of that, but Twitter blew up with how excited he got about a fight. They were happy about how excited he was. And then on Saturday night, it was a 2-0 game. Dodgers won Friday and Saturday. Padres won on Sunday. But the Saturday night game, man, 2-0, 2 outs in the 9th inning. Padres have runners on second and third, tying runs on second, and Machado hits one in, I believe it was Machado. I could be wrong on that. Somebody for the Padres hits one in the gap, and Mookie Betts comes out of nowhere, full Superman dive, and makes a snow cone catch, like out of nowhere to end the game. Sometimes I think that those plays to end a game are almost better than a walk-off home run.
No, God, no.
What?
No.
What? You make a play that nobody in this world has any business catching. So what if you rob a walk-off home run? Is that better than a walk-off home run?
No.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
No.
Oh.
The best would be a walk-off home run that hits the foul pole. Oh, you hear that?
My God. Jesus.
No.
What are you, 95?
Get off my lawn!
A walk-off home run that hits the foul pole would be the great. Get out of here. Why? How is that better than robbing a home run or making a diving catch that, quite frankly, other than Mookie Betts and maybe Ronald Acuna Jr.,
ball.
like, I'm not sure who makes that play. That is an amazing play, especially a play to end the game and save it, because if that gets down, the tying run scores, and if that gets past them in that dive, the winning run is at least on third, if not an inside the park home run.
Then it would have been a walk-off.
Oh, my God.
Then it would have been good.
You're ridiculous. You're absolutely ridiculous.
No, because they're getting chicks dig the long ball. Everybody digs the long ball. Defensive, like, we all love defensive gems. We love them. But to end the game, it's like, man, I would rather see a walk-off home run. There's more of a charge in the atmosphere with that.
I mean, I guess. I don't,
Especially if it's your team, it's your home team, that's great. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah, I guess. The Padres did salvage the last game of the series, though. Was this the best series of the season so far?
I don't think so. Not yet. You had Tatis just coming back, he went 1 for 6. Granted, he hit a bomb in the 5th inning on Friday. That was his first game back. They kind of blew it open. It was a great game up until the 10th, or the 12th, when Seager just pretty much put it away, and they dropped 5 runs in the 12th inning. And it was kind of like, man, that kind of took a little bit of the steam out of it. I mean, it was a good series, but I don't think it was one of the greatest. Like, it's not the best so far. I don't think any of them have been that great so far.
Oh man, maybe
the Phillies in the Braves series. That was a pretty good series last weekend.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Look, the Cubs Brewers series, even though the Cubs have lost the majority of those 2 series, I think that both of those series were really tightly contested. They had some bad blood there with Contreras getting hit 75 times in 4 games, and
we'll see you this week.
So, all right. I don't know. I don't know if it was the best series yet. I mean, you were only 2 weeks in, and there's been some good series. The Braves Cubs series this weekend's been okay. I mean, it's 2 lopsided victories so far, and then the Braves came out on Sunday Night Baseball and hit 4 home runs in the top of the first and went up 6-0. The Cubs responded with a couple home runs of their own. And it was like 6-3 by the 4th, and so that series was all right too. But then you got like the Royals have been playing some good baseball too. I mean, we'll get to some of that stuff when we get to our power rankings. There's a little spoiler alert. We're gonna be talking about the Royals in our power rankings.
Well, maybe you are.
If you're not talking about the Royals in the power rankings, man, I don't know what is wrong with you, because they're playing some good baseball right now, and they are atop their division. I don't know how you can have
to quote Bob Uecker, just a bit outside.
How can they be outside if they're leading the division? How can a division leader be outside of the top 10? There's only 6 divisions.
Because that division is terrible right now.
Oh, so because the division's bad, you're going to give them flack for playing well?
Yes.
Jesus. Oh, my God. I feel like Buck's on the show with me right now. That's a lot of stupidity right there. I just feel like Buck's here.
It's I just think that whole division as a whole is all struggling right now outside of the Royals, but the Royals didn't miss my top 10 by much. They would be number 11. So
let's see here.
I got another AL division. It's got 3 of their teams in my top 10.
and I got to put this comment up here. Michelle says the Cubs game the other day. Wow. As much as I hate to admit it, Combs turned me into a Cubs fan. Atta girl, baby. Atta girl.
You don't have to listen to the man.
That's what I'm talking about.
You don't have to listen to the man.
You
are an independent
it was funny.
woman.
So we were going through some wedding stuff, and had talked about cake toppers, and I found this sign for it was like something you would hang on your front door. And I said, babe, we could get this for our house. And it said, house divided, and they had the Sox and the Cubs symbol on it. And then it said Hearts United. And she's like, yeah, but it's not really a house divided anymore because I like the Cubs. I was like, what? The first time she had ever admitted it to me. She's like, yeah, I guess she kind of turned me into a Cubs fan. All right. I think, to be honest with you, I think it's just because she likes watching Javi Baez run around the field. I really do. I think that's what it is. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with Javi Baez.
Michelle, that means you're in an abusive relationship now that you're cheering for the Cubs. It's okay. Run away. It's okay to leave.
You got to be like the doctor's office. If you need any help, just we can ask him to leave the room. Yeah. I'll leave the room. Tori's got a couple questions to ask. All right. So
are you being a Cubs fan against your will?
Yeah. All right. So moving on, getting away from baseball here a little bit. Justin Fields had a second pro day last week and did even better than the first one. So look, I've come out and said I'm not a big guy on the whole, whatever it is, the pro day, the workouts with your team in your basketball shorts and all of this other stuff. Like, I'm not huge into all of that. I'm not a big believer that does anything to prove who you are, because your videotape, what you've done on the field, should speak for that heading into the draft. But he has a really good pro day. Do you think he's going to have the best career out of this year's draft class?
Potentially. It depends where he goes. If you go to the Jets, I think whoever the Jets take, they're going to just run right into the ground because that's what the Jets do. If he goes to the Niners, possibly. Great head coach with Shanahan. If he goes to Atlanta, another good chance that, he could be one of the best. I don't think with Trevor Lawrence too, I don't think Trevor Lawrence will actually be a bust, but he is going to Jacksonville, which doesn't have
He's going to be record. A bust. He's going to be a bust.
And you'll never hear these words come out of my mouth ever again, but I'm going to agree with Wyatt here.
Oh,
it's because he's going to Jacksonville, and I don't think Urban Meyer's the answer. No. But with Justin, if Justin Fields goes to the right situation, 100%, I think he
I've been going back and forth with our boys over there at Infinity Sports with Wayne G and with Sully. They are huge on Trevor Lawrence is the best prospect in the history of NFL draft prospects. He's the prototype NFL quarterback.
He's up there with Peyton Manning.
But that's what I'm saying. They said the same thing about Ryan Leaf. They said he might be a better prospect than Peyton Manning before that draft. Okay? They said the same thing about Tim Couch. They said Tim Couch was a generational talent. Now, it's easy now to look at what they've done and be like, yeah, but you could have seen holes in their game and this and that. Well, no, you couldn't back then, because back then they were the same thing that Trevor Lawrence is now. You look at Trevor Lawrence in Clemson, and it's not just me saying, oh, he's going to be a bust and hope that I'm right. Okay, because that's not. I actually watch the games. I watch how the guy performs, and I watch how he plays against the good teams versus playing against the bad teams. Now, Clemson did an absolute phenomenal job in his 3 years of not playing any top 10 teams until they got to the college football playoff. They did not play one top 10 team, with the exception of this past year. They played Notre Dame, and Trevor Lawrence didn't play in that game, and they lost in double overtime. They had not played a top 10 team in the regular season. And in the college football playoff, they are 1-2 in the college football playoff in his 3 seasons against teams not named Notre Dame. Now, I'm an Irish fan. I love Notre Dame. But we all know what Notre Dame is, especially in the college football playoff. They're not as good as the SEC. They're not as good as your top-level ACC teams. I'd be damned if I think that they're even as good as some of your Big Ten teams. So, but Clemson plays in the ACC. They played a very weak ACC. Name another good team in the ACC.
You got Miami, who is up and coming.
All right. I'm talking about in 2018 to 2020. Miami hasn't been good since 1998. Neither has Florida State. What are you playing? Wake Forest, and then they're out of conference schedule. They're playing teams like Wolford. Can't even pronounce the name of the damn school. They played the Citadel. They played Charlotte, the University of Charlotte. I didn't even know they had a football team. I didn't even know they were a school. They played the University of Charlotte. They did an outstanding job of making sure that a very talented quarterback, and that's what Trevor Lawrence is. He's a talented guy. He's been the best since high school. He was a very good college quarterback, but that does not always translate into the NFL. And I feel like Trevor Lawrence, because when you look at who he had the one really good game against an NFL-style defense, and that was his freshman year when he beat Alabama to win the national title game. Other than that, he lost to LSU in the college football playoff. And then he lost to Ohio State last year in the college football playoff. Those are the only other good defenses that he's played since he's been in college. Like, the kid, I'm telling you right now, I just don't, especially going, and Jacksonville does have some part of it. I'm not going to disagree with you. Of course, going to Jacksonville hurts your chances of being good. If you went to the New England Patriots, you'd be a different story. If you went to the San Francisco 49ers, you'd be a different story, because they've got all sorts of weapons. They just need a quarterback. And maybe you could go in and you could fit in that, and then you could be but he's still, to me, let me ask you a question about Trevor Lawrence. What in his first, let's say 5 years, okay? Let's give him 5 years, because that's what you get on a rookie deal, right? 5 years?
Yep.
All right. So in his first 5 years, what would you consider him to be successful?
Getting him back to the playoffs.
So in the next 5 years, they've got to be a playoff contender, is what you're saying. Okay. So if they're not a playoff contender, is he a bust, or is that because Jacksonville hasn't done anything to build around him?
If I had that kind of knowledge, I'd be a very rich man, because you can't. I would say, if anything, it's going to be Jacksonville not building around him, because they tried to Marlins things. What was it like? Right. Was 2017? But let me ask, they threw every dollar they had at every free agent and said, "Look, we built this great defense." Great. Let's take Deshaun
Watson, for example, then. Deshaun Watson has played on some pretty bad Houston teams in the last couple of seasons, and he's still putting up amazing numbers, though, right? Like, we still consider Deshaun Watson an elite quarterback, even though he's playing on a bad team, right?
Right. But his team is mentioned as a playoff contender every year. That is for me, because it's based solely off of him alone, because he has such good talent that they say it's like he's a young version of, I'm going to just drink, Aaron Rodgers.
So for me, Trevor Lawrence has to go out there, make at least 3 Pro Bowls, and be probably in the MVP conversation at least once. And I mean, he's got to average at least 5 wins on this Jacksonville team.
But
This
you gotta
Jacksonville
look,
team is capable of winning 5 games this season.
They are completely different quarterbacks, though, Brandon. They are not.
No, I understand. I'm not comparing him. I'm saying for what he's supposed to be. This is a quarterback coming out of college that people are saying if you take if you go into a lab and you construct a quarterback and he's the best quarterback you could construct, out comes Trevor Lawrence. So if that's who Trevor Lawrence is in his first 5 years, I don't care if they're winning games in Jacksonville. I don't care if they're going to the playoffs in Jacksonville, because that could be, like we said, that could be a whole team thing. Like that could be Jacksonville not building around him. That could be Jacksonville just being a horrible organization and nobody can turn it around, kind of like the New York Jets. Or if they're not winning and they're not doing that, but he's still going to Pro Bowls, he's still putting up numbers, he's still doing the things that should be helping them win, but they're just not good enough to win, then you don't call him a bust. But if this guy goes 5 years, doesn't go to a Pro Bowl at all whatsoever, which definitely means he's not even in the MVP race. But if he doesn't go to a Pro Bowl, I mean, Mitch Trubisky went to a Pro Bowl. Like, you've got to put something on there to say, yeah, you know what, you were right, this kid was a bust. Or for me to say, yeah, I was wrong. The kid was everything as advertised. Like,
yeah, but now, Jared Goff, do you consider Jared Goff a bust?
Yes, because I consider Jared
Goff
went to a
Super Bowl.
But I consider Jared Goff a guy that you will never win a Super Bowl with. He got to a Super Bowl because they had a unbelievable defense, and not only that, but everything was around him. They should have won that Super Bowl. They should have wiped the floor with the Patriots that year. They were a much better team than the Patriots, and Jared Goff pooped all over himself in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and to me, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be basically Jared Goff 2.0, except better.
Well, Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl, but so did Rex Grossman.
Oh, that's true, too. Flexi Rexy.
Yeah, but they rode the coattails of a very good special teams, a very good defense, and a decent enough run game.
But Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl that way.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's because, I mean, look, that Baltimore Ravens team was probably the second best defense of all time.
What they give up? Like, it was like 9.8 points a game.
Yeah,
under 10.
And that's the thing too. You look at the guy who just said from Chicago. I don't want to talk about his name. I don't want to speak his name. But Jim McMahon, I always said before. You look at guys like Trent Dilfer and Rex Grossman. I always said he was the worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, and I'm a Bears fan. Like he wrote a really good defense to a Super Bowl victory, just like they did in Baltimore with Trent Dilfer, and just like a couple of other guys did getting the one. Look at Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl. That was all defense. Yeah. So
and they get creamed.
I don't know. For me, Trevor Lawrence, he's got to come out and he's still got to be able to put up numbers, even if they're not winning 9 games a year and getting into a playoff hunt in Jacksonville. Again, that aside, he could still, that could be a whole organization thing as opposed to a Trevor Lawrence thing. But if Trevor Lawrence is that good, he should be able to put up numbers.
Yeah, and I will agree with that. The big thing is right now that they will need to build around him. There is not a lot outside of maybe they have a decent wide receiver core. Their one kid, I can't remember the kid's name. He's supposed to be their feature back last year, but he ended up with COVID and ended up missing the whole year.
Right, which is why they got rid of Fournette.
Yeah. Well, Fournette had worn out his welcome in Jacksonville as well.
Right, and then he went to win a Super Bowl with Tampa.
Right. I mean,
and became playoff Lenny.
And then he got paid again.
Yeah,
it's the same. It literally did almost the same thing Corey Dillon did. Except
but let me ask you a question though, because does that tell you right then and there with just the Leonard Fournette situation this past season? Is this a Jacksonville thing or was this a Leonard Fournette thing?
I think it's a Jacksonville thing
because it's got to be right.
Once is okay. Twice, it's the whole shame on you. Second time shame on me. Third time if it happens, yeah. Now the pattern's been established with them, and obviously, like with quarterbacks, they haven't had great luck with quarterbacks. Who's the best quarterback in Jacksonville's history? The very first quarterback they had, Mark Brunell.
Brunell. I was trying to think of his name. I couldn't think of it. But yeah, Mark Brunell.
Got traded from Green Bay. He was Favre's backup and got traded to Jacksonville and had a nice 8-year run. Went to two.
They almost
AFC
went to the
title
Super Bowl
games.
there. What was it? Their first or second season?
No, it was like their third or their fourth season that they went. But even then, I mean, they had Jimmy Smith, they had Keenan McCardell, they had Fred Taylor. The offense was just ridiculous. They actually had a pretty good defense then too. Yeah, but I think they went to 2 AFC title games with them. But they don't have a history of being a well-run franchise. The well-run franchises are always going to come back and be competitive. I'll drink again, but here, Green Bay went through their period in the 70s and the 80s where they were just a downtrodden. But in the 50s, 60s, 90s, 2010s, and now into the 2020s, they've been a really steady organization. The Pittsburgh Steelers,
they have. They've been a steady losing in the NFC title organization.
The Steelers are always there again. It's an organization that has stability. That's the biggest problem with me. And I think that if anything hinders Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be the stability of that organization because they don't have one. They keep trying to build that foundation, and all it does is crumble underneath them every single time they try to do it. And as soon as things go south,
thing, right?
Urban Meyer will bolt because that's his pedigree right there.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like NFL teams, organization wise, it's got to start with the owner. Because you look at Pittsburgh, I mean, they've had 4 coaches or 5 coaches in the entire organization history of the organization, and the Bears have been through 5 in the last 10 years. So I mean, it's got to start with the owner. You've got to build a solid foundation. You've got to build an organization where players want to play and coaches want to coach. And you've got to show loyalty to those guys. And that's something that they've built in Green Bay. That's something that they've built in Pittsburgh. And for the life of me, I don't understand why in Green Bay, because you look at Brett Favre and you look at Aaron Rodgers, and back-to-back, those were your 2 quarterbacks, your 2 franchise quarterbacks, and you've gotten 2 Super Bowls out of them. And those 2 guys really should have won more. I think they built better around Aaron Rodgers than they did built better around Brett Favre than they did around Aaron Rodgers. I think Brett Favre had more weapons. He just threw for a lot more interceptions.
Well, I do too, but you got to look at, you had a different GM then though too. You had Ron Wolf, who was like a freaking draft genius.
Yeah, but the GM nothing. It's still got to come down. It's still got to start with the owner, right? The owner's got to give you the money to spend.
Green Bay doesn't have an owner. I own the Green Bay Packers.
Oh yeah, it's true. That's why
there is no owner because it's owned by the community.
Aaron Rodgers. You heard it here first.
Rodgers.
Torrey decided to kick the field goal.
That's it. I'm his boss.
Torrey, would he have made it to the corner of the end zone?
I don't think so.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
I don't think he would. I don't think he'd have made it.
I think it's just your Packer fandom. You don't want to believe that he would have made it because you don't want to say he made the wrong decision.
No,
you can't go against your guy because I'm telling you,
LaFleur should have went for it still on 4th down.
He makes the corner of that end zone easy, and he discount double checks, and they go to the Super Bowl, and they probably win it.
No, I don't think he makes it. That, or if he gets close, he gets creamed by the safety. We lose Rodgers for the year. And now next year, we are starting Jordan Love because Aaron's still out with a torn ACL.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hindsight's always going to be 2020. But yeah, I don't think that he would have made that corner.
I still think he would have made that corner. But anyway, moving on. The Lakers decided to skip their White House trip for COVID protocol. But should the White House just stop offering trips to the White House?
I think so. It's an outdated practice. In today's politically driven environment, everybody, my biggest complaint with politics is everything's left and right. There's no middle anymore. Even in the 80s and stuff like that, everybody still went to the White House and stuff like that. And as we've gotten into the 90s, you'd hear little rumblings here and there. Then now as we got into the 2000s, you got some guys that are saying, yeah, I'm going to go. Other guys saying, no, I'm not going to go. It may be just a little bit more publicized with social media and everything the way it is these days. However, to me, it's still a team sport. You go together as a team or nobody goes. And
the problem that I have with it is just the whole politics side, and especially with social media now and the way guys, especially guys, you look at guys like LeBron James, you look at guys like, I'm trying to think of a name in baseball that has really shown, who was a pitcher for the Red Sox, Bloody Sox, Curt Schilling. You look at Schilling. I mean, you've got guys who are outspoken about their political affiliations. I just think that there's when I talk about my sports, I try to leave politics out of it because I feel like it's two separate things. In sports, you can argue about and you can banter about and you joke around with and you poke fun. Like if I go to a game and I see that I'm sitting there and then you're wearing your Brewers gear, I'm wearing my Cubs gear, we're going to jab each other back and forth, throw some insults back and forth, but we're going to laugh about it. We're going to have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Or like I'm going to just look at you and say, I was going to join the Marine Corps, but then they told me I was too smart.
Right, exactly. And then you ate some more crayons. But at any rate...
No, you're the crayon eater.
I know. I had to throw that in there, though. But but if you throw it out there and you're like, no, I voted for Trump. No, I voted for Biden. Now all of a sudden we're starting wars. And politics just is a different animal. So I just think, I mean, why put the teams through that? Why put the teams through, oh, hey, the White House is asking us to visit. Do we want to go visit? It's a Republican, it's Barack Obama in the White House, or it's Donald Trump in the White House, or it's Joe Biden in the White House. We don't agree with his policies. Screw it,
And there again, like I said, it's a team sport. You should live and die as a team. It's all about that team unity still, no matter what. Make a decision as a team to say, yeah, we're going to go or no, we're not.
But even that, they shouldn't have to make that decision. Like, it shouldn't.
And I can see now, like, say, I would say, like,
because that decision is still a political movement, though, right?
Right. Well, kind of, but you're taking the political aspect out of it at that point.
Well, no, you're not, because you say we decided as a team we're not going to go. Well, why did you decide that? Now you've got to give your reason for why you decided to not go as a team.
Because we voted not to
political,
go.
Right?
It is, but at least you're on a unified front. The thing is anything with these athletes at any time could be like, you know what? Hey, how do I get to meet the president?
Right.
And they're probably going to find, their agent's going to find a way to set that up to meet the president. And to me, you're celebrating your team, not an individual. You're celebrating your team. And that's my biggest thing with it. And I say, that's why I say get rid of it. It's an outdated tradition.
Not only that, but you're celebrating your team the next season.
Right.
Like, it's not even in the same season.
Say the Bears actually won a Super Bowl, like when Obama was in. Could I see them going to see? Yeah, because he was from Illinois. Like, so, like that. Like, I could see if it's like your hometown team that you cheer for. Absolutely. But like, other than that, get rid of it. We don't, nobody cares.
It was Barack Obama who started this, right? Like, this wasn't always a thing, was it?
No, yeah, it was. It's always been a thing. This goes back to the 70s and the 80s, yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't realize that. That's how little I pay attention to politics. I didn't realize that the championship teams go to the White House. I knew they got a call. I remember, Harry Carey back in the day was talking about, like, when the Cubs won the division in '89, that the president called and he just happened to be in the clubhouse and blah blah blah. But I don't know. For me, they could go ahead and do away with it, because I don't think it needs to happen anymore.
But I will agree with that part of it, yeah. Because there again, because it is so politicized, and you're not there to politicize it. You're there to celebrate as a team. And I've always been a team first guy, and I thoroughly believe that you celebrate as a team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know. I think it needs to change. But we're going to get to another quick break, and when we come back, we are going to go through our MLB power rankings. Tori is worse than Hoffy. I already know what his power rankings are. And I've got my power rankings as well, so we will go over them when we come back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to the Man Hour. It's your boy Brandon Combs along with Tori Anderson. If you miss any part of the show, you can catch us on Amazon Music, iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And as always, you can go to youtube.com/Man Hour page. Click on the join button. And for as little as 99 cents a month, you can join Man Hour Nation. There are different little, levels, you would call them. So we got 99 cents for merchandise discounts, $2.99 a month for after hours video, $5.99 for free t-shirt after 6 months, $9.99 for a free hoodie each year. So, Tori Anderson, welcome back, buddy.
I'm Kevin King. Sweet. I want that contract. I want that money. I mean, as I said, whenever they redo Aaron's contract, if they redo it, I said just 1%. 1% my bank account. That's all I need. And I figured out, like, if at his current salary, I'd still get like $187,000 a year.
Yeah.
At 1% of his salary.
All right. So we're running up against it here. Let's get to our power rankings. Let's go 10 through 6 and then 5 through 1. So who's your 10 through 6 real quick?
At number 10, I have the New York Mets. Right now, they're not higher in my rankings solely because they're the only division leader with a negative, run differential. They're -1 right now. They're leading their division, yes, but their bats are finally starting to come alive. A couple of them, but it's the same old Mets. It's a new year, same Mets. Oh,
they actually evened it out.
pitching.
There is no run differential right now. After Sunday's win, it's actually at 0 is the run differential.
But still, of all the division leaders, still the worst. But it's still the same old Mets. We have great pitching and 0 run support for our pitchers. Like DeGrom pitched a beauty in the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday. And they didn't do nothing until like the 7th, and they came back and won in the 4-3 in the 7th
Tori,
inning.
Can I ask you a question? Do you like research all the teams when you pick this, or you just look at the Mets and be like, oh, because the Seattle Mariners also lead the division at 10-6, and they have a -3 run differential.
I did not see that. Then I missed that one. They're not leading. No, they were in second.
Not to call you out, but calling you out here. So you got the Mets at 10. Who's at 9?
At 9, I have the San Francisco Giants. You have Wade Miley, Peralta. You got Johnny Cueto's coming back into form. And there again, I've said it earlier this year, and I'll say it all year. They're not going to be a great team based off of the division that they play in. Because every time they play the Dodgers or the Padres, they're going to get smacked down. Of course, everybody's going to get smacked down when you come into those. But still, their team ERA right now in the year for a Giant squad that wasn't supposed to be doing squat this year, their team ERA right now is a 3.10. Good for 4th in the majors. Their bats have been surprisingly good. But yeah, there's for a team that nobody was really counting on, and I've said they're going to be scrappy, which will lead me right into my next team at number 8 for scrappy teams, which is the Seattle Mariners. Seattle Mariners are the surprise team right now. Hands down, have to be the surprise team of the Major League season. They weren't expected to do anything. As I said, this is a team that is good at absolutely nothing except knowing how to win. They're 17th in pitching. They're 17th in hitting. They are literally the middle of the pack average at everything right now, but yet are figuring out how to win day in and day out. Number 7, because now that they're at 8 wins in a row, I have the Oakland Athletics. They started off 1-7. They are now 8-7. This is a team that's finally starting to round into form. Their pitching's coming around. Their hitting's all coming around. They had a historically bad start to this year. And number 6, I have my one and only Milwaukee Brewers. So my Brewers, they have went 8 straight games, giving up one run
that's in
last.
Second place in their division over a division leader.
Well, I got the division leader in there though. We haven't gotten that far yet.
But you got the Mariners who are leading their division. You got the Milwaukee Brewers are in second place in their division. Not to mention that they're a game and a half worse than the Seattle Mariners.
But who's got more talent on their team right now? have the Seattle
I tell you, the
pitching
Mariners. The Mariners have the better record.
staff, the Seattle pitching staff has not put up the
The
numbers. that
Brewers just
Milwaukee
lost 2 out of 3 to
pitching
the
staff has.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
That they did. How many did they lose to the Cubs?
Jeez, some crow. Okay, so you beat a really bad.
And then we get to
Cubs
go
are really bad right now. We've already
we get to go
admitted
at it again this week.
that. Oh God.
So starting Monday tomorrow, they start a series again.
No, Cubs played the Mets first. They played
is that-
Brewers this weekend.
Oh, is that the start of the it's the start of the road series.
Yep.
Because we got to go. That kind of sucks. We got to go from Chicago to at LA.
So I kind of agreed with you in some of your spots. So I have I actually have the Phillies at 10, not the Mets. I have the Mets higher than you do. I have the Phillies at 10. I've got the San Francisco Giants just like you at 9. I have the Los Angeles Angels at 8. I just think that right now they just are still struggling to find their identity, find a way to put something together consistently. And I have the Seattle Mariners at 7 because, they're winning their division. So I don't know how I could put somebody who's behind them ahead of them. But, that's for you to figure out, I guess. And I've got the Kansas City Royals in at number 6. Look, this Kansas City Royals team is leading this division. They're 9-5 to start the season. They do have that +3 run differential. They are hitting on all cylinders. I believe they have the most undervalued player in all of Major League Baseball in Salvador Perez. So
it's like I said, they just missed my top 10. They are literally my number 11 team. And I hemmed and hawed. I'm like, do I put them in or do I not put them in?
I had to put my Brewers in.
Hey, I mean, after we sweep our next 3 games, this next weekend when we sweep 3 games from some awful team, you'll be crying again after this weekend.
God, look, the Cubs have not started off good, and they're probably going to lose, 2 out of 3 to the Braves, and then they're probably going to lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets. But God, I hope we sweep the Brewers next weekend. God, just so I can talk, just so I can sit on this show with you next Sunday night and just gloat.
Do you want to put
I'm
going to
do 2 hours on the Cubs Brewers series next weekend if the Cubs sweep.
When the Brewers sweep?
No. If the Brewers sweep, I'm not.
Don't worry.
If the Brewers sweep, we're not doing a game next Sunday.
I will hang the broom up right behind me.
If the Brewers sweep next weekend, I won't be here on Sunday. I'm taking the night off.
Colts, we don't get sick days. Sorry, say it, buddy.
All right, then my 5 through 1, I have the Reds at 5, the Padres at 4, the Red Sox at 3, the Mets at 2. The Mets, who you had at 10, I have at 2. Look, I think they're coming on. I think they had a rough start with with the Nationals having COVID and all that. And then they got a couple more rainouts since then, but they're playing good ball right now. I think that they are the best team in the NL East, and they will be the best team in the NL East the entire way through. And then at number 1, nobody can even go with it, but it's the Dodgers. I mean, you can't go away from it. You can't deny what they're doing. I thought that they would have a tough start, because they won the World Series last year. It's hard to repeat, and when you try to repeat, it's hard. I guess maybe I didn't take into account that they won the World Series in a 60-game season, and they didn't have to play that much last year. So
they didn't have time to choke.
Yeah, they're coming out on fire, man. I mean, 13-3 to start the year is phenomenal, and you can't take anything away from that. And they're the defending world champions, so if they're not number 1 on your power rankings, you just don't know baseball.
Right. So, like you said with the Mets, you got them at 2, I got them at 10. I have a really good friend that's a huge Mets fan, and we were talking yesterday for quite a bit, and he may have had some adult beverages, but what he had to say about the Mets was Mets.
Drew chimes in and says Cubs versus Brewers. 085 average versus 086 average. He's not wrong, man. Both of our offenses are terrible.
Yeah, they are not good. I think.
And what makes it even worse is that the Brewers in their starting rotation, not so much in their bullpen. They got a lot of strikeout guys in their bullpen, but their starting rotation is filled with, just like the Cubs, pitch to contact guys, and the Cubs haven't been able to hit them.
Have you looked at our stats this year?
Yeah, I know. They played out of their minds the first 2 weeks.
Strikeouts.
I know they played out of their mind the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, but I would say, yeah, normally, hands down, yeah. We are not, Milwaukee's never been a huge strikeout, and it's always been pitch to contact, which I never got I almost called it the wrong thing, and I don't want to call it the wrong thing. American Family Field
Yeah.
is a huge hitter's park. And I never got why, like, I
Your
like
guy
the
Tim
Mets
Dillard
and
be
stuff.
all over you.
It would. So
I'll call it Miller Park the rest of my life. I don't care. Just like I still call it Guaranteed Rate here in Chicago. I still call it Comiskey. It'll always be Comiskey to me. If they ever change the name to Wrigley Field, it will always be Wrigley Field.
They would never do that. It's like Lambeau. So
Yeah.
And the Packers did that right because they got a lot of money thrown at them. Was it like Lincoln Ford Financial Field or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and all that stuff? They had a lot of money thrown at them, and they said no. So what they did instead was the gates that you go in. They sold the naming rights to all the gates.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so like you have
Okay.
like the
That's good.
Oneida Casino Gate. You have the Bellin Hospital.
The Cubs got
gate,
that too. The Cubs have that too now. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It does. It's a way for the companies to still get their name out there without
Yep.
having to put because there again, you don't change the name of an icon. You're not going to call it like Wrigley Gum Field or whatever.
All right, who do you got 5 through 1 real quick?
5 through 1, I got Cincinnati at 5. I still another week, and the the Angels will probably be out of my top 10. I actually have them at number 4, just based off their offense. They're still tearing the cover off the ball. Their pitching is the Angels.
Now,
What?
all right. You have the Angels at 4, the Mariners at 8. And the Mariners are leading the division. How can a team be behind in the standings but ahead in the power rankings?
Because it's my power rankings and I get to do what I want. I'm a
Oh my
man. I'm 44 years old.
Oh. God, Hoffy would be proud though.
He would.
right, who's at
number
3?
3? 3, I got the Red Sox. I mean,
Me
they're
too.
again the Red Sox. Red Sox are still tearing the cover off the ball, and they're doing it with small ball. They're not hitting long balls. They're hitting 281 as a team, which is pretty immaculate. Number 2, I got the Padres still, just because their pitching staff has been they're lights out as well. They're the number 2 team.
They just lost 2 out of 3 versus the Dodgers this week. I mean, obviously the Dodgers are the Dodgers.
There's going to be a lot of people that lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers.
Yeah, but before that, they split a 4-game series with the Pirates
without Tatis. They did it without Tatis. They did it a couple of games without Will Myers. Basically you brought your offense down to Machado and Hosmer.
Oh.
They were missing. They were missing a couple of starters, and to still split when you're missing a couple of guys and some pretty big number guys.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cut them a little slack, and that's the only reason. I even have written in my notes that they're better than their record indicates.
I got you. So then you have the Dodgers at 1. I'm assuming.
Obviously, they're pretty much dominating every pitching and hitting statistical category that matters. It's not even a question of can anybody challenge? I don't know. No.
Yeah. All right. So just to recap, I have the Phillies, Giants, Mariners, Angels, Royals, Reds, Padres, Red Sox, Mets, Dodgers, 10-1. And Tori is all screwed up and drunk. You're 10 through 1 real quick.
I don't even drink. Mets, Giants, Seattle, Oakland, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Angels, Red Sox, Padres, Dodgers.
All right, so there you have it. I'm right. Tori is still a Brewers fan. And we will be back in just a couple minutes with Sit, Start, and Cut for your fantasy baseball week. So you guys know who to sit, start, and cut. I am winning every single league that I am in this week. I mean, destroying people in every single league that I'm in this week. So you might want to listen to me. Just saying.
No.
We'll be right back.
Brandon would.
And welcome back to the Man Hour. It's your man, Brandon Combs, here with Tori Anderson. If you miss any part of the show, find us on Amazon Music, iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And as always, if you want to catch the live video feed so you can see our ugly mugs, you can check us out on youtube.com/Man Hour. Well, I mean, you catch my ugly mug. I can't really call it. Yeah, he's ugly. All right. So you catch our ugly mugs on youtube.com/Man Hour. It's time for Bench, Start, and Cut. Tori Anderson, are you ready, bud?
I'm ready. And what are you talking about? We have beautiful faces. Our faces are specifically made for radio.
Yeah, oh yeah. That I'll agree with you with. My face is definitely made for radio, for sure. But one thing that's not made for radio, well, maybe it is made for radio, is Bench, Start, and Cut. And my fantasy skills are out of this world, so you might want to listen to me here. I'm benching.
I'm gonna agree one time with you in your life. That yes, you may know this better than me. Wait till we get to fantasy football.
Why? So I could destroy you at that too?
Man, I went 15-0 in a 12-team league.
All right. Did you draft all Packers? I bet you're the draft all Packers guy.
I am not.
Man, my
team
is stacked. I've got Aaron Rodgers.
So funny story. The year I went undefeated, one of the guys in our league is a homer. He had the number 2 pick. And in our league, it's a very low scoring. And quarterbacks don't score a ton. He took Rodgers number 2 overall.
Yeah. I once had a guy in fantasy football who panicked. So we do a live fantasy draft in ours. And once you start, we give you 2 minutes per pick because you should already know who the hell you're picking, especially in the first round.
That's what we do too.
And he had the 2nd overall pick as well. And, he's taking his sweet time. So we start counting down and messing with him, right? We're like 10, 9. He's like, Danny Woodhead. We're like we just stopped and stared at him. Wait, did you just say Danny Woodhead? He's like, yeah, Danny Woodhead. Whoa, okay. So every year it's the rolling joke in the league for sure. But anyway, this is Fantasy Baseball Bench, Start, and Cut. And the first guy that I'm going to bench is going to be Nate Lowe. I know he's been hot to start the season. He's also got hits in 5 of his last 6 games. But this is going to be a tough week for him, man. He's going up against Ohtani, Quintana, Bundy, Cease, Keuchel, and Giolito. I mean, that's a rough week. That's a rough week for even the best hitters in the league, let alone for Nate Lowe.
Except for Quintana. I mean, he'll probably like Quintana up.
Well, so he's a lefty, and Quintana's a lefty. So you like that lefty-lefty matchup. So I don't know. I would sit Nate Lowe this week, despite his hot start. That's
so you're not high on the low?
Not high on the low. Not high on the low at all this week. The next one you want to go ahead and bench is going to be from the New York Mets. It's going to be Michael Conforto. And it's going to be interesting because I've got one of his counterparts in my start. But the reason why I have Conforto sitting is just because, he's just struggling. He's just struggling at the plate. He's batting 161 this year, hasn't hit a home run yet. Granted, they do face the Cubs and the Nats this week, and they face a lot of contact guys, but, Conforto's got to show me that he can break out of this before I'm going to go ahead and give him a start, because there are just too many other good outfielders to put in your lineup to have Michael Conforto in there right now at this point. So I'm benching Michael Conforto. You got any issues with that, Tori?
I do not. He is
I wouldn't either, because you're almost losing to Michael Buckheister.
Yeah, that's I actually pay attention to my lineup even. And Buck's probably like, I don't even know if Buck looks at his lineup. I'm like, this guy's injured. Oh, this guy's not starting today. I'm making moves, dealing with stuff. And I'm like, all right. That's what makes me mad, because I don't think Wyatt changed his lineup the week before that at all either. And I lost by 1 freaking point. 1 point.
Buck's got 8 guys on COVID IR, and you're still only winning by like 4 points. Anyway, now we get to our starts. The starts might not surprise you here. First guy I'm going to start is going to be Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper gets to face San Francisco and Colorado. Does not have to face Johnny Cueto when he hits San Francisco, and he gets to hit in Coors Field, which Bryce Harper hits a ton in Coors Field. I think he's over a 400 hitter in Coors Field, hits a ton of home runs, and that ballpark just calls for it. And so I'm going to start Bryce Harper every day of the week this week and not even feel bad about it.
Yeah, literally almost any team that goes to Coors Field and plays, you should start somebody from that lineup. I can pull one player out of your lineup that's probably going to hit bombs there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got 2 torn right.
And we get a home run derby there this year.
Oh, what's the record? What's the record for home runs hit?
Oh man, it's a lot. I mean, they've had a home run derby in Coors before.
Yeah. But there's one like 10 years ago, wasn't there?
Yeah, but I mean, with the baseballs now and the way these guys and launch angle and stuff like that, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see
dead in baseball. There's been like 36 less home runs hit this year.
Yeah, but it's the home run derby, so I bet you they'll go back to the old one for the home run derby. And the next guy I'm going to start, I told you Michael Conforto was struggling, but I told you his counterpart was going to start, and that's Brandon Nimmo. This guy's tearing it up this season. Batting .471 this season, and he's coming into Wrigley, and then he goes to Washington. And he gets to face Arrieta, Davies, Williams, Fetty, and Ross. They haven't announced their third starter yet in Washington. But those 5 pitches alone are a lot of pitch to contact guys. Which is why I think Conforto might have a chance of breaking out of it. But I just can't start a guy who's hitting 161, especially when he's got a teammate who is batting .471 and takes up one of the outfield slots. This guy is probably going to have a very good week. I hate to say it because he's probably going to single-handedly destroy the Cubs this week. So I'm going to give Michael Conforto a go. Or, I'm sorry, Brandon Nimmo a go. Any issue with that?
No. Nimmo, this is the Nimmo that everybody's been expecting. Like his rookie year, he came up. He had a pretty good year. He was, the last couple of years. Now, I think he's starting to round into the player that everybody thought he was going to be when he first came up. So,
yeah, absolutely. And then with my cut, first guy I'm cutting is from the Cincinnati Reds, Jonathan India. He's just gone cold, man. I know this rookie, he started out his first 7 games with, a 7-game hit streak and was on fire. But since then, man, he's 3 for 23. And he's just gone cold, but the Reds are still hitting at a good pace. He's not going to get a whole lot of playing time. That rookie that they got over there playing second base in Shook, he's really good. He's starting to light it up. And then his other position that he plays is third base, and that's Eugenio Suarez. You ain't taking him out of the lineup for anybody.
No.
So Jonathan India is probably going to start seeing a decrease in his at-bats, which is going to decrease his productivity, which is going to decrease his points, which is why you should cut him. Would you cut him?
Him? Yeah. No. Because my cut, for the week, if you're talking about like for cuts for the week, I would keep him because he's still hitting better than Keston Hiura. Keston Hiura has raised his whopping batting average.
Here's the thing.
From 108 to 118.
People actually have Jonathan India on their fantasy teams. Nobody has Keston Hiura on their fantasy team. Except maybe you.
No. I mean, maybe
you've got Keston Hiura, don't you?
Maybe if we played in a normal league, but we have 4 people in our league, so we all have all-star teams from top to bottom.
You've got Keston Hiura, don't you?
I do not.
I bet I'm gonna go look after. I bet you. I would
literally cut him from everything ever, just because I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt last year, where his strikeout rate was up, his contact was down. But nope, it stayed there. The only thing that's gone up this year is his amount.
Kind of like JBJ, right?
JBJ actually has been going nuts the last 3 or 4 days hitting.
Oh yeah, he'll do that. I watched him a lot with Boston. He'll do that. He'll go hot and then he'll go cold.
Yeah, he's on that little streak where he's going to hit everything for a
You know who
week,
he reminds me of hit wise? Because how he goes hot and cold is Alfonso Soriano. He doesn't hit for as much power as Alfonso did, but that's just how hot and cold he goes. Like he'll go cold for a really long time, get hot for about 10 days, and then go cold for a really long time.
Right, yeah. If he had the power of Soriano, then I'd be happy, but he doesn't.
Yeah. Speaking of power, the Braves are just lighting the Cubs up right now. It's 13-3 as Heredia just hit a grand slam. So, yeah. Cubs did it to them yesterday. They're doing it to the Cubs today. That's how it goes. That's baseball. Anyway, my last guy I'm going to cut, and Michael Buckheiser is going to love to hear this. I'm cutting Jorge Soler. Hey, just get him out of here. The guy strikes out at a phenomenal rate. He's not hitting well. Hitting 154 on the season. He's 3 for his last 20. I'm just getting him out of there. Look, there are plenty of other up and coming. I'd go out and I'd go get the guy from the Reds, Winker. I'd go out and I'd get him.
Jesse Winker
and bench. Yeah, I would absolutely cut Jorge Soler because he's just, this is what he's going to do. He's going to be a career 230 hitter who strikes out 300 times a season, but might hit you 20 home runs. That's just who Jorge Soler is. That's who he's going to be. So,
I would say 30 bombs. He's not quite Bryce Harper-esque, but he's probably going to hit you 30 bombs, but probably hit between 215 and 220.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think 30 bombs. I just don't. He strikes out way too much. And then once people start realizing they don't have to throw him a ball in the zone, he's never going to be able to hit a home run.
Yeah.
So, all right, we are going to take one more quick break. And when we get back, we are going to get into some more sports headlines. The Cubs opened up their bats yesterday. We were going to ask, is this the start of what's come to for the Cubs, or are they just bad? And now they're losing 13-3. So they are just bad. But we will talk about it when we come back in 2 minutes. And we are back here on the Man Hour. It's your man Brandon Combs back with Tori Anderson. Tori, man, we've had a pretty good show so far.
We have.
I mean, well, I have anyway.
Well, compared to last Sunday, when it was just kind of a complete cluster for us. It was like nothing went right. I haven't muted my mic on myself today, so
that's a good one. That's good. I think the best part about tonight's show. Do you know what the best part of tonight's show is?
that you didn't have to listen to Buck.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, well, Buck and Wyatt aren't here.
I was gonna say, well, I couldn't, be jealous. We couldn't be jealous of Wyatt's hair because we don't have any.
Well, I was gonna say I didn't have to listen to any nonsense that Buck would spew because he spews a lot of nonsense, and I didn't have to listen to Wyatt talk about the Packers, but I got you talking about the Packers all night. So
yeah, except I had points to mine.
That's true, kind of. All right, so Cubs yesterday go out and they torch the Atlanta Braves, on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the Braves came back and torched the Cubs. Now, look, I was feeling good after the Cubs torched them on Saturday, hit all them home runs. As now it looks like we're probably gonna get benches clearing here in a minute because the Braves hitter got hit last inning, and now KB just got thrown at. But you've got one guy or one team going out and just absolutely destroying, and then we've got Kyle Hendricks going on Sunday. I'm feeling good heading into the game. And then Hendricks starts out the game by giving up 4 homers in the first inning. So I don't know what to make heads or tails of this team. Sometimes they can hit, sometimes they can't. KB's been, hitting at a better rate than everybody else. I think he's found his stroke early in the season while everybody else is still kind of looking for it. And this Cubs team I think this is what they're going to be all season. They're going to be a team where their offense is going to get streaky, and they're going to go out and they're going to put up 13 runs on a team, and they might even follow it up with a couple of back-to-back double-digit performances here and there. But then they're going to have those games where they struggle to hit. And look, they had 2 of their first 4 wins. They won by getting out-hit. I mean, they got out-hit by I think it was 10-4 and then 8-2, and they won both of those games. So it's one of those teams. It's going to be one of those seasons. This is one of those divisions. I mean, they've been pretty bad, and they're only 2 games out.
The whole division's going to be like that all year, though.
Yeah. Oh, all season long.
Mediocre is going to be the theme of the NL Central this year.
Yeah, absolutely, positively, 110% is going to be the theme this year. And that's why I don't think the Cubs are ever going to be out of it. Like, I just think that they're going to be in it all season long, and they're going to be one of those teams that, look, you're going to have to deal with the fact that they're probably going to hit around 240 as a team, which is horrendous. And they're going to have to do it with pitching and defense. Can they still win their division? Yes. Are they going to win a World Series? Not a chance. But this is a really bad division. But this is a really bad team, and you should have known that coming into the season. I knew it coming into the season. I knew it was going to be a tough season. I just thought they would be the best of a bad bunch. And so far early in the season, they're just not. I mean, the Reds are coming out of nowhere right now.
Yeah,
they come back down to earth, though.
Eventually they're going to have to. They don't have the arms. They don't have the experience. Eventually they're going to, any team can get hot like that. I will say it's fun to watch. It's great. It makes for great baseball, but it's probably not going to be sustainable. I mean, and there again, just like we were talking about, the NCAA tournament, upsets are great. Da da da. What do you want to see? The cream's always going to end up rising to the top, unless your name is the Dodgers, where you just sat on the top, and I don't think anybody's knocking you off that perch.
Yeah, the Cubs are too talented to stay down and only win. What was it? Pacoda had them only winning 72 games this year.
Yeah.
The Cubs are too talented to only win 72 games. They're going to win 80 games by accident. That's just that's how talented this team is. Now, early in the season, being as bad as they are, they go into this game on Sunday night against the Padres. They didn't hit poorly. They actually hit the ball pretty well on Sunday night. The Braves just demolished the ball. I mean, 7 home runs. That's ridiculous. And you just had one of those nights and you got beat up, but you still hit the ball well. So maybe the bats are starting to come around for the Cubs. Jock Peterson's starting to get a little hot. Anthony Rizzo had 2 home runs on Sunday night. So maybe you're starting to get hot and do the things that you can do. But, I mean, they've got to find a way to have a consistent couple of weeks. And you've got the Mets coming to town, and then you've got the Brewers again, and then you go back on the road and you do it all over again with the Braves. I mean, it's a tough schedule right now for the Cubs, for sure.
Yeah, and what's the old saying go? As the weather gets warmer, so do the bats.
Yeah, for sure.
You and I are kind of in the same situation. The Cubs are just like the Brewers. You hold your breath. You know that your pitching staff's probably going to be able to hold them pretty well, but it's are we going to be able to scrape 3 runs on the board to maybe even win? And even the Brewers bats have started to come alive as well, but still, that division's going to be like that. The only thing that we're going to agree on there is let's just keep hoping the Cardinals just keep sinking.
Yeah, I agree. But let me ask you a question. So from an outsider's perspective, I'm a big Javi Baez guy. I love Javi Baez. I love the flair. He's a defensive wizard. The guy's just a stud with the glove. And he is the best infielder on the team, no matter what position you play him at. He just is. I don't care if it's short. I don't care if it's second. I don't care if it's third or first. He's your best defensive player on the infield. But if you throw him a pitch inside the zone, you're an idiot. Because he will swing at everything that's in the dirt, everything that's in the other batter's box. I mean, he swung at a ball against the Brewers. It was like a 46-foot curveball. And he swung.
It spiked in the dirt.
Yeah, and I don't understand why anybody would throw this guy a pitch in the zone.
Why doesn't he swing at the pitches we hit him with?
If you were the Cubs, would you use him as trade bait come the trade deadline? Because he's up on he's a free agent at the end of the season.
He's a free agent, yeah, because he's a free.
Or
you'd be stupid not to.
Would
you'd
you
be
extend
stupid
him?
not to put the feelers out. You'd be stupid not to do that.
Wouldn't you extend him and build around him because of the potential?
It depends. You know, what are you looking at budget wise? You know, what are you looking at? You know,
oh, they can afford him.
You got to lock KB up yet.
You're not going to lock KB up. KB's gone. You're not, because KB's a Boris guy. Javier Baez is not.
Yeah.
You can get Javier Baez. Tell me right now, if Javier Baez continues to struggle like he is at the plate right now, all right, and finishes this season batting, let's say I'll give him a hot streak, and he finishes this season batting like 270, okay, and he hits 20 home runs and drives in 80. You can probably still get him for 6 years and 120, right?
We would have been pretty close because I was going to say 7 and 180.
Yeah, so I mean, you can lock him up for little money. I mean, I say little money, $20 million a year, is,
right?
Is still a lot of money, but by baseball standards, that's little money. So, isn't that worth the defense? Isn't that worth what he brings as a spark? And if he has, I mean, 2 years ago, this guy was an MVP candidate. He finished second in the MVP race and lost out to your boy over there in Milwaukee. So I just like the potential's there. The defense is definitely there. I mean, the guy's a wizard. Is that $20 million a year worth it?
I personally, yeah. But you saw they went into full cost cutting mode this winter. You know,
yeah, a lot of teams did though.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of teams did because of COVID. They have the money to lock him up. I mean, they're going to lock him up. I believe they're going to lock Rizzo up and build around Rizzo and Baez.
Well, and you couldn't ask for almost two better young players to build around than those two. But the thing is that what the Cubs were going to do, and I'm glad they got away from it, is they were almost, when they brought Theo in, they almost went into, let's get into the arms race mode of, let's just throw money all around like it's water.
Right.
And I'm glad. And I am glad that they got away from
So when Theo came
quickly.
in 2013, and the Ricketts had bought the team in 2011, I believe, and Theo came in 2013, they said, we're gonna start this thing from the ground up. We're going to build the farm system. And they did that. They had amazing talent in the farm system heading into 2016 season. I mean, plus KB was a rookie. You had Javier Baez coming up. Addison Russell came up. Kyle Schwarber was of that class.
Addison Russell didn't beat nobody up at that point.
Yeah. And then after that, you traded every other piece that you had to sell your soul to win a World Series. And I'm glad that they did that. But after that, you did nothing to replenish again. You said, you know what? All these guys we brought up are good enough to do it again. And they've shown you year in and year out. They're not. They can't hit consistently. They're not the same team that they were in 2016. It was a special season. And all the stars aligned. And the Cubs finally won a World Series. But you did nothing to replenish your farm system. They've got nothing in the farm system right now. Nothing that anybody wants. They picked up this kid out of Mount Carmel High School this year. His name is Ed Howard. He's their best prospect. And that's it. That's all they got. In the top 100 prospects, they've got one player.
That's probably one more than the Brewers got.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how you've got to start doing. Why can't you just go back to what you did starting in 2013, build this from the ground up, and start over again? And then by 2023, you've still got a good core. You've still got Contreras. You've still got Baez. You've still got Rizzo. You've got Jock Peterson now. You could lock him up for another 3 or 4 years. You've got Ian Happ. So I just don't understand what they're doing here in Chicago. I don't understand when they say, "Oh, we don't have money." That's crap. There's no way you don't have money in Wrigley
Yeah,
Field.
if you didn't have money, you'd be selling the team.
No.
If you were losing, that's what there was one executive that said if an owner says they're losing money, they're lying through their teeth because they're making money hand over fist.
Absolutely. So
but to the point of it, the Houston Astros, as much as I hate to give them credit for this, in the early in the decade, in the 2010s, laid the foundation for how to do things and build up through your farm system and stuff like that. Like they did it. The Brewers stole David Stearns from Milwaukee, or from Houston. He did the exact same. He turned the Brewers around in 2 years. We were expecting a 3 to 5 year rebuild process, and it took 3 years. And that's honestly, you almost have to tear it down, sell off every piece, and then go at it. The thing is they realistically, they need to gauge it. If realistically they don't think that they can sign Javi, and they say, well, we're gonna watch money. You're gonna have to deal. They're gonna listen to offers no matter what. If somebody offers you, the world for Javi, you're probably gonna take it, especially if your cupboards are bare. If the cupboards are bare and you need to restock, you're gonna restock.
I mean, it would have to be like
Rizzo's
the
the only untouchable on that team right now.
See, I disagree. See, I think it's Javi. I think Javi should be your only untouchable. I think Rizzo is tradable. I think KB, and I love Rizzo. I love KB.
But Rizzo's got years of control left yet. He's got 2 years.
No, he doesn't. He's a free agent at the end of this year too.
Oh yeah,
Javi,
trade them all.
Javi, Rizzo, and KB are all free agents at the end of this.
Trade them all. I would literally tear it down. Be terrible for the year or two. Basically, say, look, we know we're going to suck.
You're just a Milwaukee Brewers fan.
No,
and you just want the Cubs to suck, and you want to see me suffer.
No, I would say the same thing for the Brewers. In 2 years, like say if they're going downhill, Yelich has got 8 years left on that contract he signed. Trade him.
What about this year? Let's say this year. Same idea for the Milwaukee Brewers. You get to the trade deadline. You're sitting 6 games out of first place. You can't hit worth a damn. Your pitching is subpar. Do you trade Yelich? Do you trade Locaine? Do you trade? You know
Locaine,
what I mean?
I think Yelich they won't. Locaine they will. Hader, I can tell you right now, Hader's gone at the deadline.
Yeah.
Right now, the only reason he hasn't been traded yet is because the Brewers have asked for everything under the sun.
You think if Devin Williams continues to struggle, they'll still trade Hader? Or would they trade Devin Williams at that point?
No, because Hader's going to go to arbitration this winter and make $25 million.
Hader's arm's going to fall off at some point.
I agree, and that's why I'm like, I love Hader. I have a Hader jersey. Trade him because there again, his arm is going to fall off. He's going to fall off a cliff. You are not going to be able to afford him after this year. Well, you could, but it's going to take up, for a small market team, it's going to take up a big chunk of your payroll, and they're not going to do it. Realistically, they're going to have to lower their expectations. But there again, ask for the world and see what you get. That's kind of been their take on this whole thing.
Drew has an interesting one here. He says a trade Baez for Trevor Story.
But Story's a free agent after this year, so would you trade a rental for a rental? Or would you?
The reason why I wouldn't make that trade, and not because I don't think Trevor Story is a good player in this league, because I think he's a phenomenal player in this league. I think he's going to command more money on the open market than Javi Baez.
Yes, he's got bigger name recognition than Javi. He's a
more bigger market. He's a more consistent hitter. I mean, Trevor Story. Let's just face it. He's a more consistent hitter, and he hits for more power. Trevor Story is going to be in Baez's defense. I mean, everybody knows it. We call him El Mago, the magician. I mean, he just makes things happen. The guy is probably the smartest base runner I've ever seen in my entire life as well. So, I don't think I make that trade just because you'd probably end up having to pay Trevor Story more than you pay Javi Baez.
Yeah.
And he says Story's hitting 271. That's great. I think Baez is hitting like 207. So, he, like I said, Story's a more consistent hitter than Javi Baez. And, I don't know. Like especially them hitters, that's the same thing that I said about Arenado coming out of Colorado. you get these players that leave Colorado and they're just different hitters, man.
Yep. That was going to be
So-
my counterpoint, was be like, is Story going to be the same player?
Yeah.
How many years did Tulowitzki do it all in Colorado?
I mean, think
and
of
then he
all the
went to
players that have
Toronto
left
and fell apart?
Colorado, and have they been that good? I mean, DJ LeMahieu is probably the biggest success story.
Yep.
So I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But let's move on here. We had this. I don't know if you guys seen this, but we had this Baylor versus Indiana Elite AAU basketball game, and it just turned ugly. And it turned ugly really, really quick. So I'm gonna bring this up on the screen here. Let me go ahead and press play. For those of you on YouTube right now, you guys check this out. Check out this video. This is pretty wild here.
All I can see is Bob Menery doing the play-by-play for this in like a week.
So the ref, like, and this girl, she's like a 14-year-old girl is coming throwing haymakers. The dad picks him up, breaks the guy's neck, but the ref is the one that throws the first punch here.
Yeah.
And then the girl comes in, he pushes the girl, and then the dad comes in, and then another guy comes in, and then it's just an ugly situation, man. Then he picks this guy up, and watch his neck when he hits here. He definitely lands on his head. I mean, if he didn't break his neck, I don't know. That's just ugly, man. You can't get into that type of situation as a parent. And look, I'm a ref, and I've refed at high school level. I've refed at the college level. I've refed at the Pee-wee level, and I don't understand parents that go at a ref. For one, we don't care who wins the game. We don't. Now, I didn't see the calls. I don't know what was made. Supposedly that there were some horrible calls, and this ref was being one-sided. I don't know if there was some animosity between him and the coach. I don't know if there was animosity between him and the school or the program or whatever the case is. Maybe they cut his son, or maybe they cut his daughter, or whatever the case is. I don't care. You can't get to that point, for one, as a parent, for two, as a player, for three, as an organization. And yes, I look at the ref and I see that it looks like he throws the first punch to me. So that
Right,
in
but
itself,
where-
I mean,
Where at that point, we don't know what happened. That's what I said. I want to know the rest of that story, what happened and what led up to that, to make a ref throw the first punch.
yeah.
Like, obviously the referee is supposed to be the authority figure. It doesn't matter whether it's on the court or off the court. They
Yeah.
are technically supposed to be that authority figure. So I want to know what was said, because it had to be pretty bad for the ref to be like, screw this, I'm throwing hands.
Look, on the hockey, on the ice, like when I'm reffing hockey games, man, hockey parents are the worst. I mean, especially youth hockey, because they think that their kid is 7 years old and he's going to the NHL next week, and there's scouts in the stands there to see him play for some reason. So I'm reffing a game, and I've got this was a squirt game, so it was 9 and 10-year-olds, and I'm skating down the ice, and I made a call, put the kid in the box, and I got this parent climbing up on the boards in the corner. And he's like, you suck. I can't believe you made that call. Blah, 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 blah. So I nonchalantly, skated past him while I'm on the ice, and he's up on the boards, and I took my whistle off of my fingers, and I just raised it up to him. You want to call the game? And he goes, no, I don't want to call it. Probably because you can't skate either. So sit down and just watch the game. And that's the most interaction I've ever had with the fan. Or off the ice, I had a guy come up to me and he's like, "Oh, you had a horrible game, ref. It was this, it was that." Because there's always half the stands love you and half the stands hate you, because one team's losing and one team's winning. So one guy, that's a horrible call, ref. So I took out my USA hockey card. I handed it to him. I said, here, one class in August is all you got to take. It's an 8-hour course. Take the course. You can make your own calls. Like, that's how I handle it. If you want to complain about the calls I'm making, feel free to come make your own. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see the same stuff that I'm seeing on the ice. Because I don't care who wins and who loses. I really don't. And I tell you right now, you could even say, if my kids are on the ice while I'm roughing, I'm probably more prone to call make a call against them than I am against you. So like it's one of those things where like I'm just not biased. Like I don't care who wins the game. I still sleep 8 hours at night when I go home for the night, maybe even more than that if it's a tournament, and then I'm sleeping probably 10, 12 hours. But you get my point. Like, refs don't care who wins and loses these games in youth sports. We just don't care.
No. Yeah, there's usually no vested interest. There's not, very few sports leagues. He's like, oh, we need the parents to ump or ref or like. I mean, you see it every once in a while, but yeah, for the most part, the refs don't care. The umps don't care. Like, I mean, I used to ump baseball, and I've been called every name in the book at least twice, probably. So,
are you a gambler, Tori?
I'm hanging out with you, ain't I? That's kind of a gamble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So
I'm a
I like to gamble too, and I'll tell you right now, if I go on, sportsbet.com or sportsbook.com,
Thrive Fantasy,
or if I go to thrivefantasy.com, hot plug, or if I go to wherever the case is, DraftKings, whatever. There is no sports book in the world where I can go in and bet on a 10 AAU game. There is no favorite in the game. Nope. There is no underdog in the game. I'm not making any money by making calls one way or the other. So I don't know. I don't get it. And if I don't like a coach, and trust me, there's been plenty of teams, plenty of guys where the coach just rubs you the wrong way, says the wrong things, does the wrong things. You hear the way he talks to his kids and you don't like it, and all that other stuff. Like, I go out of my way to have an excellent game if I'm coaching against a guy I don't like, because I don't want to give him the chance to have anything but nice things to say about how I ref that game. So even if I have bad feelings towards a coach, I'm not making bad calls against him. So I don't understand what could have gotten it to this point where this ref is swinging, and then you got fans swinging, and the player comes over to swing at him.
Body slam.
It was absolutely horrendous, a horrible scene. That stuff should never happen in youth sports. Not only is that, bad, a bad way of parenting, but I mean, what are you doing? Like, this is what your kids are seeing. So now how are they going to act towards a ref the next game that they have? Ref makes a bad call. What are they going to do? Go swing at the ref? You know what I mean? Because I'll be the first one to admit, refs make bad calls sometimes. I've missed calls. I've made a call where I was like, hey, you know what? I thought that was tripping. So I made the call. My partner come up to me. Yeah, he definitely missed. The blade went completely under the skate. The kid just fell on his own. Oh, my bad. But the way I see it from the angle I had, it looked like the stick made contact. So I'll admit it.
You did go to instant replay? They don't have that in midget and squirt hockey?
Midget and squirt hockey, yeah. Let me call Toronto. But no, they don't, you make bad calls, and it happens. But I shouldn't have to fear for what's going to happen if I make a bad call. I shouldn't have to fear for my safety, my health, my life in some cases. Like, I mean, if the way he landed, man, I'd find it absolutely amazing if he didn't break his neck.
I'm 100% with you on there because I don't care what way you look at it. The way he landed was not natural at all. There was no cushion, no nothing. And I seriously hope that if the ref's at fault, still didn't deserve it. Did he probably deserve to get whooped? Probably.
And Drew, while I agree with this statement, this comment that you put, I'm not going to read it live on the air. I do agree with it, but for our show's sake, for radio's sake, for Big X Radio and our listeners, I'm not going to play it. So if you want to know what that comment was, feel free to go to youtube.com/manhour. While you're there, click on the join tab and join and become a member of Man Hour Nation. So moving on, more basketball here. Steph Curry now has 10 games in a row with 30-plus points. That matches Kobe Bryant's record. Is Steph the greatest scorer of all time? I'm getting so sick and tired of these Steph Curry. He's not better than Will Chamberlain. He's not better than Kobe Bryant. You could tell that Buck made the rundown, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the proper Wyatt response. He's the greatest player ever. But no. That is the dumbest argument. No, he's not even in the top 25 in all-time scoring yet. So no, he's not the greatest scorer of all time. The thing is if you're considering Steph because he ran 10 games with 30 points plus, he has, I don't know when he plays his next game.
It took him 763 games to do what Will Chamberlain did in 429.
I agree with that. Yeah, because that's when you should.
And Will was doing it 2 points at a time, and Steph Curry's doing it 3 points at a time.
I was only behind the keyboard because I was screaming. I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
you heard me, man. I was going
off.
Be
glad you can't hear me all the time.
Oh, I was. Trust me, man. You heard me. I was not letting Wyatt off the hook.
No,
this Steph Curry stuff's getting out of hand. Look,
the
Steph
thing
Curry's
is,
got range for days. The guy can shoot from anywhere on the court.
Does that make Russell Westbrook the greatest player to ever play in the NBA? Because he's had 25 triple doubles in 4 separate seasons. No other NBA player has ever done that. No, he's not the greatest player.
And like I said, I mean, Will Chamberlain did it 2 points at a time. Steph Curry did 3 points at a time.
Absolutely.
It still took him twice.
And it was like, well, he had a height advantage. No, yeah. I'm pretty sure there were some pretty great centers in that day.
You know what advantage Steph Curry has? Nobody's defending him.
And if they do, they can't hand check him. They can't hip check him. There's no defense. You can't do anything like that. It's like I said, right now, if Steph Curry were playing in the 80s and 90s, he would be his dad. He'd be Del Curry. He'd be a 3-point specialist that came in off the bench that averaged 12 points a game because he couldn't play defense, and he would get roughed up a little, and he would never be able to score.
Take it even more recent. If he was playing with Kobe, who this question is about because he matched Kobe's record, if he was playing with Kobe on Kobe's teams, he's Robert Horry.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's the third or fourth option because again, you're a specialist. You're a 3-point specialist. That's all you are.
Yep.
That's with the changes in the defense, with the way that they wanted to get scoring up in the NBA because scoring brings in the fans. They've limited what defenders can do so much that that's where I say this is a ridiculous question. When I read it, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what are you even thinking about with this one?
Yeah, I don't understand the whole Steph Curry love.
He's not better than Oscar Robertson. He's not better than Kobe. I'm going to have to say this, and I want to punch myself in the throat. He's not better than LeBron.
When Wyatt said that Will Chamberlain wasn't even a top 10 player of all time on his list, right then and there, I want to take away your ability to ever talk basketball ever again. And I don't even like basketball. I used to like basketball. I used to love basketball. But the game just got so watered down for me. I just stopped watching. I stopped caring. And this is the game that Steph Curry is playing in now, where it's a 3-point contest every night, and nobody plays defense.
Yep. Wyatt had me so mad the other night. I'm not lying. I was looking to try to book. I was trying to find out a way to get Bill Russell on our show. I was going to be like, because Wilt died in 1999. So
yeah.
But Bill Russell's still around, and I'm like, how do I get Bill Russell? If I could get it, that would be a great get for us to get on the show if I could get Bill Russell on here. But and that'd give us a little bit of credibility. But when Wyatt was talking, I was just like, that's just nonsense. But I agree with you. It's so watered down. Like, I miss the days of the Pistons versus the Bulls, the Lakers versus the Celtics, the Hawks versus the Bucks. Like, those days, where teams genuinely hated each other. And there again, I was behind my computer, and you guys talking about the MJ Reggie Miller thing. I honestly think Reggie Miller was being 100% honest. If MJ called them, he would tell him, no, because those guys in that day genuinely did not like each other. They weren't there to be friends. They weren't there to hang out with each other. They were there to hang out and stick up for their teammates. They were after it is now, hey man, let me get your jersey after the game. Let's hang out. Hey, let me get your digits here. Da, 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 da. The whole now it's is Steph Curry going to team up with LeBron? Why? So you can have the Lakers on the West Coast and the Nets on the East Coast. Just basically build super teams and screw everybody else. that's the one thing I really hate with the NBA is the lack of parity. You
Yeah.
know, as much as people
I mean, if that's
complain,
the case, why don't we just break them down to 8 teams?
right?
You have eight super teams and let them go at it.
Right.
Do a I don't know what a 26 game or 32 game season, and then just go into a tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, that's why basketball it just killed it for me, and I even tried getting back into it. I tried. I was getting back into it towards the All-Star break.
Have you ever tried watching the Big Three?
Who are the big 3 now?
So the league that Ice Cube runs.
Oh, I have not.
I would tell you, watch that. It's a lot of like older NBA vets that are way past their prime and stuff like that. But they're chippy. They get super chippy. I can't remember. Somebody got banned for life.
I used to like watching
year.
What was the street ball one where they did like all sorts of crazy stuff?
Oh,
crossovers and
you had the wizard
the
and you had
the
professor.
The professor was my favorite, man. I can't remember what it was called, street balling or street ballers or something.
I don't know,
like
but that was great to watch too.
Oh yeah, dude, that was so much fun. Is the 3-on-3, is that anything the one Ice Cube does? Is that anything like that?
I think it might be like that, except it's a little more organized.
Okay.
Like they have like actual teams like in each city and da 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 da.
Oh,
like,
really?
It's actually really well organized, and they have a draft. You know, it's actually
and it's
pretty good basketball
3-on-3.
to watch.
How many players are on a team? 5, 6?
I think 6 guys.
Okay.
So I would tell you, check it out. It has a lot of old school feel to it.
Yeah.
And
it just kind of feels like you're down at the Y, right? Let's run some 3-on-3. Yeah.
Right. And except guys get chippy, we'll start throwing haymakers. Like it's like I feel like I'm back in the early 90s.
when Ice Cube used to say it was a good day. Oh man. All right, Tori. Well, that is all the time that we have for tonight, man. It was fun hanging out with you, talking some sports.
Always, every Sunday. I always look forward to every Sunday. It's always great to come on Sundays.
I know. I wish you were on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Let's just get rid of that buck.
I'll be on. I don't because I like to hide behind my computer screen and just sit and troll you guys for the next couple of days.
Oh, you like to act like you're in mom's basement then?
Right. I mean, without any repercussions.
You get your muscles on and, put on your Superman cape and you just start typing keyboard warrior.
I'm all swole. When I'm behind the keyboard, I am swole.
I love those guys, man. I'll tell you a story off air about what happened to me inside of a fast food drive-through this weekend. I'll share that with you once we get off the air. All right, guys, so that's all the time we have for the Man Hour. Again, if you missed any part of the show, join us on Amazon Music, iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And as always, you can find us on youtube.com/Man Hour. The new Join tab. You can start at 99 cents a month for merchandise discounts, $2.99 a month if you want to access the After Hours video, $5.99 a month if you want to do all of the above and get a free shirt after 6 months, or $9.99 a month if you want to do all of the above and get a free hoodie each year. Join us on the Man Hour, and you will start getting these badges next to your name. Let's pull up Michael Buckheiser, who, has got this little badge next to his name. That's how we know you guys are members. Anybody who did pay for this month's membership, I believe, I have to ask Buck for sure, but I believe this month got refunded for you, and that way you can go ahead and put it up on the youtube.com. Just because our website, it was just harder to do the after hours show. It was harder to keep control of everything. So we found an easy way to do it on the YouTube page. So go to youtube.com and click the join tab. Drew, I know you are against YouTube. You hate YouTube, but go to YouTube, become a member. Go to YouTube, become a member, so you can be on the after hours show. We could talk with you, do all that other good stuff. We will see all of you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.